Hey guys, got another video here for you. Today I want to talk about all my jerkbait fishing, how I do it, the rods and reels that I use, the line, and the 3 different techniques I approach jerkbait fishing for bass. Hope you enjoy. Starting off with color, I typically don't spend too much time worrying about color. I keep it pretty simple throughout most of my fishing. I typically fish on like cloudy, overcast days, more of a white color, kind of a flat color, and then on less overcast, more sunny days, I pick more flashy, metallic type color patterns, and depending on if it's working or not, I stick with it. Sometimes I just change it up just for the fun of it and see if another kind of color is working until you find something that works and run with it. Another important thing for jerkbait fishing is, of course, the cadence. You always hear the jerk, jerk, pause. It is important to find something that works, find a pause length that works. Maybe it's 3 jerks, maybe it's only 1, and let it sit for a little bit. There is various different types of jerkbaits offered now, some rise, some sink. You can obviously play with that with hook sizes and kind of vary those sinking and floating speeds and find something that kind of works for your area, your body of water. But here in Ontario, I fish a lot of clear lakes, so your natural kind of bait fish colors are typically what I fish. I keep it pretty simple and try to find that cadence and kind of just keep switching up colors and cadence till I find something that's working, and that's how I'll fish for the day and hopefully catch as many fish as I can. As for the techniques, I'll start off with my more finesse style technique, and that's going to be when I'm using like smaller jerk baits. Typically my choice is an X-Wrap. This is the number 6 size. It's usually what I'm using when I'm finesse fishing a jerkbait. As for the line and rod and reel, I use a 6'6" medium rod with a fast tip. That fast tip is important when fishing any kind of bait with treble hooks to keep those fish pinned, so I always fish a fast tip. You want enough backbone in that rod to be able to snap those the jerkbait and get the most amount of action out of it. So you don't want too soft of a tip, but something that you're comfortable with that will still keep those fish pinned on those treble hooks. I guess I'll go over line as well. This technique, I always use fluorocarbon, depending on what kind of structure I'm around or how deep I want the lure to go. I'll typically use 6-pound test fluorocarbon, sometimes 8, but very rarely. I'm usually fishing it on 6-pound test because I want that lure to get down in the water. Once again, typically fishing very clear lakes, and that line needs to be invisible, and the smaller line gives the bait that much more action, so that's very crucial. And spinning reel for that setup, of course, and it seems to do very well for me when there is a lot of fishing pressure, when maybe a front's just rolled through and the fish are kind of funky. That can sometimes be the game changer to switch and downsize to catch a few more of those fish. And fishing pressure too. If there's a lot of guys around and you see a lot of them out there running a jerkbait, sometimes just making that downsize will produce a few more bites in those scenarios. When it comes to most of my searching, when I'm just kind of using the jerkbait as a search bait, that's kind of my all-around, my go-to technique, and I typically use kind of your X-Wrap 10 or a lot of times a Shadow Wrap 11, your 110 size baits, kind of around your typical size jerk baits. The line and reel, I still use a spinning reel for this. but because I usually fish this anywhere from rocks to structure, any structure to weeds, I fish it on braid and a bit of a bigger rod. This is a 7'1" medium with, again, a fast tip. You want that soft tip for those treble hooks. The line size, I usually run a 8-pound braid and a fluorocarbon leader. I usually upsize the leader a little bit if I'm fishing around structure, and if it's more open water, I downsize it, depending on kind of where I'm fishing. If I'm going to be fishing around a lot of rock, I want that abrasion from a bit of a thicker leader. But once again, you want to keep those line sizes as small as possible with a jerkbait so you can get the most action out of the bait. So I always try and keep the smallest line size I can when picking a leader. The last kind of more of a power fishing jerkbait style, more of a, I guess, open water, you would say. I still use kind of your typical 110 size baits, maybe a little bit bigger sometimes, like your kind of X-Rap 12 the odd time, but this is when I'm going to be fishing a bait cast setup. This one here is a 7-foot medium heavy with a fast tip. I like to fish this when I'm really wanting to get a lot of action out of that bait in open water. Because of the open water, I fish this primarily on fluorocarbon, usually 10 or 12 pound fluorocarbon. I use a faster gear reel, this one being a 7-to-1. Having a fast reel is important not only to work that bait quickly and cover water, but also pull the slack up on those fish when they hit. Once again, nothing too crazy. I like to just keep it simple. But these are the 3 different techniques that I fish for smallmouth and largemouth with jerkbaits. One thing I forgot to mention is hooks. You want your hooks to be sticky sharp. Sometimes these fish just slap at your bait and you want to be able to capitalize on all those strikes, so make sure that your hooks are not bent, not dull, and make sure that they're sticky, and you'll land a lot more fish this way. So keep your hooks sharp. There it is, guys. This is how my 3-prong approach to jerkbait fishing. I keep it very simple when it comes to colors and line, and I just roll through kind of different techniques for kind of what situation, body of water I'm on, what the conditions are, and I just play with different colors and line sizes and especially cadence till I find what those fish want, and have fun catching them. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions or anything regarding jerkbait fishing, I'd be happy to answer anything. Leave a comment below, leave a like, and I'll see you in the next video.